Hi there everybody and welcome to another video. On today's video I have this BMW 520 diesel. This is a 2015 and I'm having an issue with the EGR valve, and the car occasionally goes into limp mode as a result. So the car has got 46,000 kilometers, which isn't a lot of mileage, but we're experiencing that EGR situation. Now, just having a look here at the, let me show you. Some of the fault codes I have are these ones here. This is, I'm just using ISTA here to check, and that is basically the fault codes that I'm getting. But I'm going to be replacing the valve today. Now, one thing I was looking in here is that to refit the valve, you need to follow a certain procedure. This would be the correct way of refitting the valve, because when you plug it in, the valve, it's sort of in the open position, and then you can put the screws on. However, if you were to install it the wrong way around, I mean not the wrong way around, but without connecting the electrical plug, then the valve would remain shut, and when you put the screws in, it would put pressure on the mechanism and possibly damage it. The reason I had a look at this, to be honest, I didn't I thought it was a straightforward replacement, but the reason I had a look is because when I bought the part, so let's go, I'm gonna switch ignition off. So that's the part there with a gasket and that massive red sticker, risk of damage, so follow assembly instructions. Obviously when I opened this there was no instructions. So I guess, yes, they are referring to BMW will have access to the computer and obviously the instructions, as we just had a look. So that's the only thing I think to be aware of. There might be some coolant pipes. I'll be honest, I never actually changed one of these on an F11, maybe on other cars, but not on this model. So the EGR valve is just sitting there. It doesn't look too dramatic to remove, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to be removing, I'm gonna try anyway. So as usually what I do is I sort of work out how to go ahead and do it, and then I can show you guys how I'm doing it. But otherwise I don't just film struggling 2 hours with something when I can show you what I worked out in the end, which then makes things a little bit faster. So obviously I'm just going to start by removing some covers like this one. This just unplugs literally from those mounts, just to get better view here. And then I'm going to take this out. So let's start doing this. So first things first, I've just undone that Jubilee clip there with the flathead screwdriver, so it's loose, and then we can pull this rubber boot out of this filter housing here. Also I'm just going to disconnect this, so just be careful with these clips. So I'm just gonna push it out a little bit. And once it's out a little bit, I think that didn't come out. But if you push it out a bit, there, then you're able to push it down. And remove the connection. So just removing that so we can remove this filter cover here. I'm gonna take it out. It just unplugs as well, as far as I'm aware. So we have to disconnect it from this pipe here. It's just plugged in the side with a couple of clips there. Also just remove this wiring, these hoses from here, from the side. Well, it just comes up really. They're just plugged in there. Right. Okay, this will come out. Okay, I just managed to disconnect it using my screwdriver. This bit here is quite flexible, so you can just get your flathead screwdriver on the side and sort of push this out. It's just literally so it's literally plugged in there. And once we disconnect that bit, okay, so once you've disconnected this side, there is also another Jubilee clip. There's another hose connected to this down there. That one there. That is holding this box in place. So we just want to undo that as well. Try to get it loose, and it's a little pipe that's connected to the side there, the bottom. Not this one, but down there. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to disconnect that, and then I can show you. Okay, so I haven't got a long flathead screwdriver, but I got this long 7mm little ratchet, which I can do that clip with. But if you have a long flathead screwdriver, then maybe you can get it as well. Just doing it a bit. That should hopefully help us release that hose. So just another tip, you might need a long one of these to get down there and push the hose off that. It's not that difficult, and then you'll be able to hopefully take that out of the way. Now, this is the hose we disconnected. It's literally just plugged into the side. And that gives us a lot more room and visual area for the EGR valve. So let's get this clip out. There's another one here. looks like that might be 10 mil. Potentially we could remove it, or we could push this down a little bit. We just need access to this area here. So might be easier to get that off. Let's see. Yep, it's a 10 milli, and it's just not tight at all. So just remember, when putting it back, don't over tighten it. Because most likely it's just going into some bit of plastic or something. Okay, now that can remain back there without coming back and annoying us. And I'm also going to take this one out. Another 10 mil. That's just the little bracket where this was plugged in. Okay, so next we want to undo those Torx screws. I've got a T27 here. I already undone this one here, so that's not the hard one to access really. The one that is a little bit more of an issue, so I'm using this long tiny ratchet here with my 27 mil. I hope I can access the one around the back there. Just a bit of a pain. The position which is at because it's at a little bit of an angle, so I don't want to damage the screw really. So I may need something that I can flex the head a little bit at the bottom. Okay, so removing that little screw there is going to be a pain in the neck. Because the only other option is to remove the rocker cover or something. So I got, like I said, this tiny little ratchet, and you may see my ratchet is not fully plugged into that socket there. So I have to sort of force it a little bit in there and get that open. Once you crack it open, you should be able to take it out, but it's not that easy to get in there because all of these it's in the way. All of these bits are on the way, so you can't quite get, unless you have a flexible type of tool. I think there are some flexible ones that you can get of these. nevertheless I just haven't got one at the moment. So be prepared for something like this, or do a little bit of research how to, if you can get something that will be a little bit flexible, that might help you access that. Even like this is hard to just turn this, it's hard. Okay, I think that might finally be loose, and that's just because that is at a certain angle, and that angle is a pain in the neck. Okay, so just loosen that little clamp there, and then you'll be able to remove this pipe. And like we said, there might be a bit of coolant coming out of there. Yep, quite a bit. So I'm just going to clamp this. It's just because my car is a little bit hot. Okay, you might need to block both hoses, the one on that side and the one on this side. Although it might be just a little bit of coolant that will come out, not a lot. Anyway, just temporarily I put one of those sort of pliers on that. Keep that hose out of the way. And again, I put one of these pliers on the hose down there. So technically this should now be loose. We should be able to release it in order to get it out, but it might just be a little bit stuck in there, but it should come out. Okay, so I just wiggled that out with my other key. And we should be able to pull this out now. But obviously that coolant hose still connected. So let's try to just open that a little bit. Or not. No, I'm gonna try to just open that bit. These are not too tight, by the way. So still a little bit. So anyway, I think we get the idea. So I'm just loosening that so I can take that hose out. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I've taken the hose out. So technically we can just pull this out a little bit here. And that might be dripping a little bit of coolant, so just direct it to somewhere else. So I'll put a bit of something there, a rag, so it doesn't go in there, and take the gasket out as well. And let's put a bit of paper there. For the time being, now we can disconnect this connection here as well. So maybe similar to the one we disconnected earlier, pull the clip sort of back a little bit, and then you'll be able to press it down and take it out. So that's what I'm going to do. It's a little bit hard to pull out. Hopefully. Hopefully not impossible. Okay. Just make sure you press properly in that clip, because it's a little bit hard to press it and make sure this bit lifts up. Because when I lifted it with a screwdriver, it came out a bit easier. Okay, so that's the EGR valve in there. So in this case scenario, obviously I'm just putting a new one, not cleaning the old one. So it's straightforward removal, refitting kind of thing. So let's just clean the area around here. A little bit for the new gasket. That's the new gasket there. That's gonna go on there, like so. And as per the instructions, we are going to plug this in first. Okay, so I heard that clicking in, and we can lock it into place with that. That way it's secured. Right. Okay, I'm just going to connect coolant pipe in there. It's just going in. gonna take that out because I don't think there's any coolant coming out of there now. Okay, so before installing your EGR valve, you need to, from what I've been reading, it's not essential that you do it, but from the BMW's point of view here and in ISTA, what they say is if you want to guarantee not damaging the EGR valve, then it's best to, if you get the little if you get the valve opened. So if you have ISTA, then you can do it via ISTA. So if you go into the vehicle management service function and then you go into engine, this diesel particle and you go into engine section here, digital diesel electronics, then you will find the exchange and installation of the exhaust gas recirculation valve, and then you select installation of the gas recirculation valve. I couldn't do this yesterday because I mean I did it for the valve I installed. I just couldn't finish the video when I was doing it, so I'm just gonna try and show you how to do it with using the old valve, which I sort of opened and cleaned a little bit, so you can actually clean it and perhaps not buy a new one, but I fitted a new one anyway. So go to installation of the exhaust gas recirculation, press display. I'm gonna click OK on that. Then it's gonna find this. In these two videos which I showed you earlier, you will find why they recommend getting the valve. So it says the following video shows you the correct installation of the exhaust gas recirculation valve. Using an example of an EGR valve from the company. The description also applies to the EGR valve from the company, so it's another company which is used in diesel engines. So it says start the following service function in the diagnosis system, installation of exhaust recirculation valve. So that's where we are. I'm gonna press here continue, and then in there you will see it says start activation. So if we select start activation and then continue, so I'm gonna do that and I'll show you what the valve is supposed to be doing before installation. So I already fitted my own valve, but technically when I start the installation, this is supposed to go up a little bit, so hopefully it will, because obviously this was a bit stuck. So let's try to accommodate this somewhere here. Okay, activation has been started, and that should have gone in, so I don't know if it did. Okay, so you may have noticed that that went in a little bit. Now that allows you to fit your EGR valve safely back into its place, and then once you put your two Torx screws here, you tighten them, we can then go back into the system. So at this point, like I said, we're supposed to, you get the valve up, fit the valve back in there, finish doing that, tighten the screws, and obviously connect your, maybe your water hose, this one, because you kind of connect it as you put this back in there. Basically refitting is a reversal of removal, but once you got it, ideally once you have these two secured, you can release the valve. So go back into the computer here, and as you can see, the computer, it says EGR valve position. It's opened about, what, 30% is showing. Now mount the EGR valve after the exhaust gas recirculation valve is mounted. Finish activation. Continue. So now it's mounted, technically. Continue, and then end service function, and continue. Service function is finished. So by now the little valve would have released, which I can see it has. So that would have released inside of there, obviously. So I just used the old EGR to show you how to proceed. It's just I couldn't do it when I was fitting this yesterday. When I was fitting the new one yesterday, I couldn't keep filming. And the easier way to get that little clamp is by using a 5mm. The 5mm socket fits, but be careful not to over tighten the hose, as it can be easier to over tighten it when you're using a ratchet. So I'll just make sure I tighten the last bit with the screwdriver so I don't overdo it. Okay, now technically this will just sit there without any resistance, and we can fit our screws. That screw is the easiest one, and we have the other one just around the back. Okay, now we're going to have to start playing around with tightening those up, so I'm going to do that next. Now I'm just going to sort of tighten these screws a little bit. And I was rushing a little bit, so nevertheless, once you fit it, obviously everything else you just have to refit the reversal of removal. So having said that, I hope this video helps. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.